Hello, everyone, and welcome. Can't even speak. My name is Julie Mann. I'm also called a habit fixer, and I love helping women over 50 to enjoy amazing health and well-being and self-confidence. And I do that through life coaching, EFT, nutrition, skincare, and digital products. And today I'm joined by the lovely Luke Hilliard. And Luke does a couple of things. He's the founder of Look for Two, and he's also a dedicated and brilliant running coach. And he's going to talk today about good running habits. Now, if you're already a runner or you haven't yet tried running, it may be that these tips inspire you to do just that. So I'm going to hand straight over to you, Luke, for you to give us your habits.
Oh, thank you ever so much, Julie. It's a pleasure to be here. No, as Julie mentioned, running is my passion, and you can probably see from the wall behind me just how many races I've done. I'll just go into a little background about how I got into running, because it wasn't something I've done all my life. It's something I started doing as an adult. And if you are interested in taking it up, and I would thoroughly recommend it, I've got some tips for how you can get that into your habit for your life as well. And it doesn't just have to be running; it can be any area of physical activity. So if it may be a case it's yoga, it may be a case it's swimming, or even if it's just something that you want to get better at. Hopefully, these philosophies and tips will help, because it's certainly something I'm trying to do with my business. So I got into running when I moved to Durham about 7 years ago with my now wife. The gym I went to I wasn't particularly fond of, so I decided I'll go exploring and find some new places to get into. And the best way to do that was just to go running. I did a little bit at school. I've done a bit sort of playing football, but I've never taken it serious. But I did find straight away that I enjoyed it. It was great that you record the routes on your phone. You could keep an idea of your times. And I noticed that I could, lose weight easier, getting to my mid-20s. That was a time when the weight wouldn't fall off quite as it used to. So that was really good. And it was actually my mum that suggested I do start doing park runs. If you haven't done a park run, I thoroughly suggest doing it. They're all over the world, predominantly in the UK. Everyone meets at 9 o'clock at the morning, and it's an organised, it's just technical, it's an organised run where your times are recorded, and it doesn't matter if you're an elite runner or a complete beginner, you're welcome to walk it the whole way. It's a really good way for everyone to include it. I got into those and really enjoyed the sort of like the competitive nature of myself and wanting to beat that time each week, and that's precisely what I did. And when I first started out, I was running at about 23 minutes, finishing around sort of 80th out of about 400 people doing it at Durham. And gradually, as the runs increased and I got better at it, I found myself sort of getting under that sub 20, and then under that sub 18, and sort of finishing in the top 10. And now I'm at the point where I'm approaching sort of sub 16 minutes for a park run. And it's taken me to all other areas of running as well. I started doing longer runs, so like a 10K distance, half marathon, and marathons as well. And I'm glad to say that I've qualified as an elite runner next year for London. So I like to think that I've really achieved an awful lot in running in a fairly short space of time. But there's still plenty in me to get better, and that's something that I'm really looking forward to approaching. So how did I do that? Because running is all about habits. It's all about consistency. The best runners, the ones who can do it on a day-to-day basis, and that's exactly what I set out on doing. So when I first got into running, I would look to run about 3 days a week. I would choose those goals in advance, so a Monday, Wednesday, and a Saturday. And I'd look to just do 20 minutes, see how far I could run in those 20 minutes. Sometimes it would be an easier pace. Sometimes it might be a faster pace, but I would just try and stick to that. And when you break it down, 20 minutes really isn't that long. You could do that in the morning before work. You can do that at lunchtime if you're lucky enough to be able to run in your lunch break. You can do it straight after work, or you can just do it before going to bed. And over time, that you can gradually increase. You'll find that the incentives and the more that you do running, the more that you'll want to dedicate to it. So it would then become half an hour a day and then 40 minutes. And then you sort of start to make time for it at the weekends. But it's having that initial consistency was the absolute key to getting better at it. And as I said, once you start doing it 3 days a week, you can start doing it 4, then looking to do 5. And to be honest, once you're getting to running at 6 days a week, you're going to be approaching a certain level where you probably don't need to do more than that. And I found that's been really helpful, sort of breaking it down. The other thing is being realistic. It's understanding that you are going to have bad days. It's being aware that you're going to have things like sort of like holidays, illnesses, family problems, work stresses, and it's being sort of forgiving with yourself when you can't quite fit in a run, because we're all going to have those issues at some point. But at the same time, just sort of knowing that, okay, if I didn't get my run in today, or it wasn't quite planned, or if I had a bad week, I'll make sure that I make up for it in another day or another week. And to me, that's always been key, is just being aware, right, I didn't do my run on the Monday, but I'll do it on the Tuesday. And again, just think, it's only 20 minutes, it's only 30 minutes. I will find that time and I will do it. And I suppose what generates that discipline is the high that running gives you, and the benefits of it. And for me, I've certainly lost weight since I've got into running, and I don't have an issue now with putting on weight, which means I can enjoy food a little bit more freely. I sleep an awful lot better. That's massively improved. And things like mental benefits as well, just in general, happiness, mood, stress levels are much better. And I think once you understand what those benefits really are and you see them working, you'll find that there's a huge motivator to keep yourself going. And so if you are struggling or want to get into running, try and break it down. Just focus on a week by week, even day by day basis. And until you've got into that habit of doing it, then maybe start looking sort of longer term plans. But I do notice that some of the clients I've taken on, they've been very intimidated by these 12-week plans that they found online. And for me, it just needs to be simpler than that. You just break it down on a day by day, week by week basis until you're at a point where you can keep running and be easy on yourself. It's a long term thing. Running's there for life. You can run until you're in your elder years. It takes time to get into that habit, to get into that system, but 100% achievable. And I've certainly benefited from it an awful lot, and I know my clients have as well. And I can't wait to see what else myself and they can achieve in the future.
Brilliant, Luke. And I guess when someone's starting out running or any other sport, they may not really feel the benefits, because it is about that consistent, activity, repeated regularly, that makes all the difference, isn't it? So I guess that's why a lot of people can just kind of give up, or maybe that they run for a week and then, and then it's raining and it's dark and they really don't want to go out and do the thing. But actually, it's like you mentioned, there are so many benefits. And I guess one of those is actually feeling really proud of yourself for achieving something that you couldn't do maybe a week before or a year before. And and doing that with kindness. So I think that we could definitely all benefit from celebrating those little wins, and remembering how far we've come.
Oh, absolutely. I always like that running phrase. It doesn't matter where you finish, you're beating everyone who's staying at home, sitting on the sofa. And I couldn't agree more with that. If as long as you can get yourself out there, just a little bit of run, even if it's just a case of walking or doing something physical, then that's a good achievement. It's something. And it's precisely what you said. Be proud of that. Take the wins, and over time it will get better. And yes, it doesn't always happen straight away. It can take several weeks before you really notice those benefits. But I guarantee that you will. It's just biology. The more energy you put out, you will lose weight, you will feel fitter, you will get stronger. So that it will happen. It's just being that patient and understanding that it's getting through that initial uncomfortable stage. But
yes, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Just get off the sofa and do yourself a favor. If you're going to be running, put your gear you know, next to the bed or wherever it is that you're going to run from. I mean, you know, just make it really, really simple. I love that you've talked about simplicity, and I think it's the simple things done consistently over time that make the biggest difference. And really appreciate all that you've said, Luke. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise. If any of you watching would like to find out more about Luke, not just about the running, but his other company, organising events and all sorts of brilliant things, then just look at the links down below this video. So thank you ever so much, Luke, and thank you everyone else for watching.